Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hi, Miss. Fine, and you?
Okay, thank you. I owe you the rubric so you can see where you were weak and where you were strong. You got all your grades, right? Did you see them?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Good,
miss.
great. Guys, I have something to talk to you about, which is the last evaluation. And I'm still waiting for the providers because I really wanted you to do something real. However, considering the time we have left and that I haven't received all those the description of the products they're selling, I would leave it up to you. Therefore, I have three options for you to choose for the final evaluation. So the first one is that you can find yourself a provider that where you can make the entire selling of the product abroad. Now, that's a little iffy because of the time. You can do that on your own, of course. You can continue doing that, not for the test, because I don't think you have the time for it. Because first you have to look for the market and then make the contact and so on. And that's kind of slow. And considering the providers, such as the ones I had found, they are very not committed to what they say. They say they're going to send you information and then they don't. So you really have to be on top of them. If you have the chance and you already know a small provider that you can help, good, you can do that. My other options are the following. We can do the test the same way we did test number 1 and test number 2, uh, orally, okay, with your partner, the same thing through the video, just like that. Or we can do it written. If it is written, you're going to do it with your partner anyway, but it's going to be a case, the same type of case that I had given you before, but in this time, you are going to be adding that additional information. And what is that additional information? Is how you're going to be sending the merchandise. So you have to consider in the deal, you have to consider all the documents that are going to be involved. You also have to consider the packaging and the container. Okay, everything we have seen. So whether it is oral or whether it is written, you're going to have a case. For example, let's say that you're sending peaches to Japan. So you have to consider the entire deal. How are you going to send those peaches to Japan? Under, and here comes the conditions, a very relaxed and a good budget. That means that you have enough money in order to put very fancy or good looking packaging, or under a very tight budget. So for example, if you're going to be sending apricots to Mexico under a very tight budget, most likely you're going to choose liners in bliss boxes, for example. But that is a statement that you are going to say in the deal. So it's not different from what you have already done. At the very beginning, we started with the money movement. You know now that the money movement is also used throughout the process. Then we included the process. Now in this process, you have to say the documents that you're going to be needing for that particular product and for that particular country. Because if it is a country where you don't have a free trade agreement, for example, you are not going to include a certificate of origin. And the particularities of the packaging and the container. That is the extra that you are going to be adding to this process. So what I want you to do now is I want you to discuss as a group how you want your final evaluation. The same way we did it from the very beginning. I assign you a time and we discuss or you want to do it in grading. So I'm not going to ask you to give me the answer right away, so you can give me the answer next time we see each other. Do you have any questions? Did you hear me?
Yes, if we choose oral,
It's
it will
gotta be,
be
excuse me, Sebastian. The decision you come up with, it's gotta be for the class. It's not that one group is going to be oral, the other group is going to be written. That's why I'm going to give you until next class for you to decide as a group what you want. Oral.
Until Friday, Miss?
When do we have classes again? On Friday? Friday. Yeah.
On Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, so think about it, whichever is faster or better for you.
but my question is, the oral, it will be the same difficult as written.
Oh yeah, sure, because it's going to be a situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss,
Yes.
if we choose written,
Written.
the test, yes, the test will be in, you give us 12 hours
Yeah,
to
sure.
solve.
As usual.
Okay.
Yeah. Under the
Okay.
same parameters, but written. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else? So let's make an exercise just out of the blue. Let's see how much you remember. Let's assume that you're going to be sending acetone to Russia. What kind of packaging would you use? Transportation first. What kind of transportation?
Vessel?
Yes, vessel. Now let's say that this acetone is going bulk. No particular packaging. What kind of container would you need?
Plastic container?
No, bulk. No packaging. If you don't need packaging for acetone, what kind of container? You only have one option. What kind of container do you need? Guys, talk to me. Acetone, liquid, corrosive. What kind of container do you need? What's the name of the container? Going to Russia? Oh my God, you're getting scared. Come on. So that's the type of questions you need to answer. So it's common sense. If you're going to be sending this liquid, it's got to be in tank container. Since this particular merchandise is corrosive, what symbol do you need on the tank container?
The UN symbol and the IMO symbol?
And
IMO symbol?
hazardous, right? And hazardous.
Yes.
Yes, you see? That's what you need to know. So you got to talk to each other and say and think of the characteristics of the merchandise. Let's say that we're sending custard apples to Japan. What kind of packaging would you use?
Some fancy package?
Okay, but give me elements.
Apples?
Custard apples. Do you remember what custard apples are, right? What are custard apples? Chirimoyas, guys, English too. Chirimoyas, custard apples. Think of the characteristics of the custard apples. So what do you need? If it's going to Japan, you know you have enough money for packaging. What do you need immediately? Custard apples have a very delicate skin. So what do you need? Your first packaging would be, oh, you haven't watched the PPT, huh? What is the one that cushions? Are you there? Anyone? Should we use hay? What do you think? Should we use hay? Should we use shredded paper?
No.
No, it's too cheap, right? So what instead? What would protect the custard apple and looks nice and fancy? Anyone?
Eggshell trays.
Okay, you can use eggshells, but the first packaging, which one is the first? And it's expensive. And Japanese love them. Cushioning cups. Cushioning cups, right? First, you need cushioning cups on eggshell trays. And where would you put this? Bleach boxes, telescopic boxes, where?
Telescopic boxes.
Why telescopic boxes?
Because it need airflow.
Does this type of merchandise expand?
No, but it can sweat and mature on the trip. So we need a good airflow.
Well, you have that also on the bleach boxes. So since this merchandise doesn't expand, you don't need a telescopic box. You need a bliss box, okay? That sort of things. What is the disadvantage of wooden crates? There we have some questions. What is the disadvantage of the wooden crates?
The phytosanitary certificate, and
Yes.
it's expensive.
Yeah, it's very cheap, right? It's convenient because it's cheap. But the disadvantage is it's not good looking and it harbors bugs. That means that you need to present phytosanitary certificates. Why do you need to present phytosanitary certificates for containers? Anyone? Why do you need to present phytosanitary certificate for containers?
For the plagues that the wood can carry.
Okay, because it has wooden floors, right? And the wood may contain insects, may contain bugs such as termites or ants or other type of insects. That's why. Okay, what is the advantage of plastic crates?
They don't need the phytosanitary certificate and they are reusable.
And money?
They are cheap.
No, they're
It's
not
cheaper.
cheap. They are what? Somebody said something. They are tax deductible. You can deduct taxes on that type of packaging because they are reusable. So it's eco-friendly. They are reusable. That's why you reduce taxes. Okay. What kind of container avoids condensation when it's not a reefer? So we were checking this type of container when we are sending alcoholic drinks. Remember that? What is the kind of container that avoids condensation of humidity and it's not a reefer?
Someone wrote in the chat.
Someone wrote on the chat. Yes, thank you, Carolina. Yes, you don't have speaker, Carolina. Good, great. Very good, Carolina. Okay, what is the difference between the reefer containers? We have two types of reefer containers. What's the difference between one and the other?
The dimensions?
We can have different dimensions in reefers, the same as any other type of container, except when the container is aluminum. So give me more. So let me give you an example. Let's suppose we are sending grapes, right? And grapes have to go under temperature control. But we're also sending ice cream, and ice cream has to go under temperature control. In which container would you put the ice cream, and in which container would you put the grapes? Talk to me. So first of all, we have to identify what are the two containers. The first one is an integral unit and the other one is a porthole. What is the integral unit? Associate the words, guys. If it is integral, means that the engine, the motor, is integrated in the container. So it can function on its own. You don't need another source of power or electricity for the container to continue working. Porthole is the type of container that needs to be connected to some source of energy, whether from the vessel or the truck or the train, right? So my question again, in which container would you put the ice cream? In which container would you put the grapes?
The ice cream in the one that has the integrated motor, and the other in the plug and unplug.
Okay, so you see all those aspects that are around the merchandise, you have to determine in the deal. In the deal, you have to say all those aspects. At the beginning in the process, we were saying in the deal, we discuss the merchandise and the characteristics of the merchandise. But now you have to stop in the deal. So if you're going to say we're going to be sending ice cream and it's got to be on individual boxes, these boxes are going in bliss boxes on pallets. What type of pallets, right? Plastic, wooden, or depending on the budget, money, right? And this is going to go in what type of container? Integral units, because they must have temperature control 24/7. So before, when you were saying the deal is about the characteristics of the merchandise, now you're going to have to stop a little bit on the deal. The characteristics of the merchandise are these. And what are the specific documents that I'm going to need you to present? Because remember that the documents are important. And if the exporter or the broker is missing one, he or she is not going to be paid by the correspondent bank. And remember that the correspondent bank is in the other country. And the only person that can authorize payment for that is going to be the importer. But since it was in the deal, the importer has all the right to say no, because this was on the deal. So you were supposed to present all the documents according to the deal. That's why it's so important. And that's why the pro forma invoice is so important. And it's important also because everything that is existing in the pro forma invoice is in the letter of credit. And if it is in the letter of credit, it's going to be in the SWIFT. So the other person in the other country is going to read the instructions. If it's not there, cannot pay, cannot be responsible to give money that is not their money, is somebody else's money. So that's why it's so strict. And the deal is key here. So based on the merchandise, so I'm going to give you some restrictions such as money, place where it's going. So you have to determine the type of transportation in the Incoterm and the merchandise that you're going to be dealing with. Are we clear? So considering all those aspects, think about it. What is going to take us if it is going to be an oral, same as the ones we did before? 2 more minutes? That's it? Additional information? Because you're going to say the packaging and the container. Extra in the documents. 3 minutes more. So instead of using 15 minutes, you're going to use 18 minutes to explain everything. Or you do it in writing. So think about it, discuss it with each other, and let me know. Okay? And the process, same as usual. You just add information. Good enough. Any other questions or whatever questions you may have? When are we going to do this test? So we only have the week after next. We don't have much time. But I would like you to think about it because I have to, if it is oral, the rubric is the same. If it is written, then I have to provide points because it's not going to be the same, because when it's oral, I can relate immediately to what you're saying or guide your answers. When it's written, that's it and that's it. So the rubric is different. It's more demanding, the rubric, because you don't have the chance in the written. This is something you have to know. When you say, for example, you skip a part and you say, and the letter of credit becomes official, and the teller puts the money here and sends a SWIFT. Oh, and the letter of credit is such and such name, and you remember afterwards. Okay, you remember in the oral, and that's it. But when you're writing, that is out of sequence. Do you understand what I mean? We can understand it in
Yes, miss.
writing because you can explain yourself when you're speaking. But when you write something, it's already written. It's not that, oh, but I remember afterwards. It's already written. So think about it, guys, and give me the final the decision next class. And hopefully for next class, bring me some questions so I can answer. As of my part, I finished all the content. So all you need to do now is take a look, go over it, and see if you have questions about it. Okay? Good.
Miss,
Yes, baby?
can I talk to you at
Afterwards? Sure.
the thing?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yes, I also want to talk something.
Okay, fine. Okay, guys, I'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Try to read a little bit of my subject too. Okay? And be good. Take care.
Bye, Miss.
Take care, guys. Be good.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, honey.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, baby. So it's Sebastian and Alejandro.
Miss, yo le había mandado un correo también. Seguro.
Oh, you too? Okay, yeah, sure.
Yes.
What if I put you on the waiting room and then I start with Alejandro and
No
then
problem.
okay, I'm going to put you on the waiting room for a little while and then I'll let you in. I'll put you in the waiting room. And Carla, you too? I'm going to put her in the waiting room. Sebastian waiting room. Okay, let me stop recording. Hold on.